Good evening, everybody. My name is Niru Padmanabhan, and we are on Allies Inc. Live. Today, we have with us another dynamic speaker with another dynamic solution for you. But before we do get to that, we're going to introduce Public Allies. So, Public Allies, we are a nonprofit organization. We help to support communities, individuals, and the most vulnerable in society. Prior to this, we ran contracts and trainings for individuals to help assist them with their mental health and help them feel better. However, after COVID, we had to change the way we did things. We were no longer able to reach the same audience. So we started holding dynamic interviews, roundtables, and information for clientele like yourself. We started helping people in different ways and reaching out to assist. We understand that education can help you level out your anxiety, your stress, and help you feel better. So, our job is to continue bringing you educational webinars, roundtables, and interviews so you can feel confidence in what you're doing and the changing environment around you. My name is Niru Padmanabhan. I am a mental health professional as well as a financial professional. So I bring to you Adriana Barros, who is a body talk practitioner. I'll hand it off to Adriana to introduce herself.
Hello, everybody.
Yes, give me just 1 second. Well, I have some technical errors.
You're going to put it up
Nope.
for me?
Yes, I am. So go ahead. Give me just 1 second.
Thank you. So my name is Adriana Barros. I'm the owner of the Body Talk Hyde Park practice. And the Body Talk system is what we're going to be talking about today. But before we get into Body Talk, if you go into the next slide, please. I'd like to give you just an overview of my background and what I've been doing and what I had been doing before Body Talk. So I've been in healthcare for 20 years, more give or take, more now, more than 20 years. And I started working as an interpreter. So I have a degree in language and literature, and I specialize in interpreting. And so I was working at clinics, hospitals, programs, and you name it, everything healthcare. And I specialized in languages, so I was interpreting in different languages. When I had a switch of career, I was introduced to the Body Talk system, and due to multiple issues with my own health, I had multiple musculoskeletal injuries, I had fibromyalgia, you name it. And so I was going to different practitioners at the time, and I was spending hundreds of dollars on my health monthly without really having like great improvements. So because of my language background, I was able to also serve different communities. So I speak Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, English, and I was already interpreting for that community, for those communities. With Body Talk, since I started practicing, I've been practicing Body Talk for 8 years now. I've been also serving those communities, which also allows me to work globally. And another thing, which is part of my practice, is also that I am a highly intuitive practitioner, and which helps, and not only myself, to go places when I'm practicing and really pinpoint the root cause of the problem that the person is experiencing faster than if I didn't have my intuition guiding me. So that's a bonus for clients as well, because it helps us identify the root cause of what's bothering them anyways. So if you can move on to the next. Thank you so much. So Body Talk was founded by Dr. John Viltime, who's an Australian doctor. And before Body Talk was founded in the late 90s, Dr. John Viltime was suffering from major health issues, and which took him to look for an osteopath in New Zealand, who introduced him to early techniques of the foundation of the Body Talk system. And that led Dr. Veltheim to really create all the techniques and all the different approaches by using principles from Eastern and Western medicines into creating the system. Dr. John Veltheim has an extensive background in medicine, which includes chiropractic medicine, traditional acupuncture, philosophy, Reiki, applied kinesiology, bioenergetic physiology, osteopathy, sports medicine, and martial arts. We can move on. Thank you. So body talk, what is body talk? Body talk, as I mentioned, has been practiced in over 50 countries presently, and it can be used as a solo healthcare system as well as a support healing system. So you can also be treating yourself with different practices and also benefit from body talk. We can move forward. So body talk is really literally health on all levels. Sorry. And body talk is considered a holistic healthcare system because it does look at the body as a whole. Everything in the body is taken into account. Can you click next for me? It's also designed to reconnect the lines of communication within the body mind, within the different systems in the body. Next. It is consciousness-based medicine. And by saying consciousness-based, it means that we consult the body regarding what it needs in order to heal. It brings harmony to physical, mental, emotional, and energetic bodies. And body talk is formed by principles from different Eastern and Western medicines. You can click on the next one as well, which are Chinese medicine, acupuncture, applied kinesiology, chiropractic medicine, yoga, Reiki, Ayurvedic medicine, mathematics, and quantum physics. And we're going to talk a little bit more in detail about quantum physics further ahead. And body talk promotes self-healing. Now, quantum physics. So we're going to go into a little bit more in depth into this, just to try and understand how quantum physics is involved in our healing process. You can move forward. So each cell, system cell, and atom of the body is in constant communication with each other. And it doesn't limit it to that only. There's much more than that. We can move ahead. So basically, let me just move this. Our body and everything in the universe is energy. So we are made of energy. And so we see, what we see as matter, and we can start by our bodies, our furniture, objects, cars, everything in the entire universe is actually energy vibrating. But it moves so fast that gives us the impression of solid. So when this movement is interrupted and we develop disease and reduced body function. So that goes for the internal aspect of our body. So our body is entirely made of energy, and by energy, and it's every single particle inside our body. So it's cells, molecules, atoms, atomic energy, everything is formed by atoms, right? And that it goes for our body parts, our cells, and everything else. And also, all these electronic parts, minimum particles of energy is actually in constant vibration, meaning that they are communicating with each other at every second of our lives in order for us to be alive. And because our bodies and the entire universe is made of energy, the energy that is outside, which is the life force, which is chi energy, is also inside our body. And this flow of this force, of this life force, chi or prana as it's called, and like I said, it's not only internally present inside of us, but all around us, everywhere in all universes. Now, the functioning of our cells is directly linked to our thoughts. And we create the thoughts. We create what we want to think, what we want to feel. However, we are also able to change them. So meaning that the quality of the thoughts that we put in our heads is actually going to influence directly ourselves and the functioning of our body. So the waves internally, the waves that come from our brain and start shooting into the different systems in the body will immensely affect how we behave. If you can move forward. The energy of our thoughts and feelings cause electrons to shift, meaning that so this movement will affect and create our reality. So the speed of these energy, of these particles moved by our energy, is going to really dictate what happens inside of us. If it's depression, if it's happiness, if it's health, disease. So our thoughts will entirely dictate how healthy or unhealthy we are. If you look at our health status, if you look at what's on or in our body at this moment, so if we have chronic disease, if we have illness of any sorts or injuries, whatever it is that is disturbing us, actually, they are not in our body, but they are in our mind. Everything that goes into our body starts being formed in our brain first. More specifically, it's the perception that each individual has towards every single situation and their reality and their living space and things that they interact with on the daily basis. So diseases, illness, pain, everything will manifest, will be imprinted, will be held inside our bodies, in our energy field. So everything that we start picking up, all the signals from the external go first into our brain, into the energy field, into the brain, into the different systems in the body. So first of all, it's around us, it's in our environment before they even manifest on the physical body. So it's manifesting, everything that manifests in a physiology level, on the physical level, it's been way earlier in our minds. And then for that reason, we have the power to stop our thoughts and to dictate how healthy or unhealthy we will be. And per se, that our whole body is nothing more than the holographic projection of our consciousness. So depending on what you carry in your body right now, way before it turned into physical, it turned into your thoughts first. We can move forward. Now, stresses, excuse me, does stress cause diseases? So all the overwhelm that we deal with on a daily basis will lead to make people think that yes, it does. But we will move forward and we will talk a little bit more in depth. Stress per se does not cause diseases. And why? Because stress will start weakening the communication lines within the systems, the different systems in the body, and that will cause the physical, emotional, and mental health of a person to be compromised. So it's first, there's a process, right? That starts all in our head. So it's not only the fact that we are stressed that will change our physical body, but it starts in a process of weakening the signals, the communication from the neurons into the different systems in the body. And to give a better example, if you were at home and were to plug in all the appliances at once, that would cause a fuse to blow. So that's exactly the same process in our mind. It exacerbates weaknesses and imbalances in the body. And also stress will put the body on a sympathetic mode, which makes us fight or flight. So the thing is, we need to get out of the stress mode. We need to get out of the fight and flight, of the reaction, the immediate reaction to everything, which is good if we are to defend ourselves, right? Because it gives us a sense of protection. However, if we are constantly on that mode, on that reaction mode, then we will start burning us out. Versus letting the body relax and function from a parasympathetic mode, which is ideally where we want to be. The body only heals if the body is on the parasympathetic mode, meaning if it's relaxed, if the mind is not plugged in at like 1,000 volts at every single minute of our day. That's why it's important to look for activities to bring down that stress level. Engage in something that will not only bring the physical enhancement to the body, but also to the mind. Stress will bring down the communication in the body by making systems work less than ideal state, which will lead to degeneration, pain, and illnesses. So eventually, the diseases will start appearing, because if those signals from the neurons start going weak and uninterruptedly for a long period of time, those are the grounds that the body needs in order to start developing something. We can move on. And as we all know, the whole humanity deals with this list of diseases, and high blood pressure, digestive disorders, hormone, endocrine imbalances, fatigue, infertility, heart disease, which is the disease that most kill on the planet. And people don't really talk much about it. And all kinds of immune system disorders, which could be Crohn's disease, MS, lupus, for example. We can go forward. As I was saying before, we're talking about prana, about energy. However, our body is not only made of matter and cells and atoms and protons and all those particles. However, matter, which is energy vibrating, is also accompanied by energy fields. So our body has prana not only outside of us, but also inside the body. So inside the body, we will also find the chakras, which is, they are the vertical wheels of energy internally in our body. We are also made of meridians. Meridians are energy pathways that go through the 12 main organs in the body, and they affect us directly. And also chi, which is the vital energy, as I mentioned, prana or life force, which is also outside of us. And in order for us to be healthy, our physical body needs to be in harmony with the energetic bodies. So they have to be functioning side by side without suffering influence one from another. That's the only way we are healthy. We can move forward. Now we're gonna just talk about the difference, what sets the difference between body talk as an energy therapy, as an energetic healthcare system, and the conventional Western medicine way of treatment. So going back in time, if you are not familiar with the term Cartesian method, this was, it came from the name of a famous philosopher. He was not only a philosopher, but he was also a mathematician, metaphysician, and eventually, which is the aspect of his life that interests us the most, as a forensic pathologist. He lived, René Descartes lived in France from 1596 to 1650. And at the time, he wanted to experiment as a pathologist. So he was given permission from the church to actually dissect cadavers. But under one condition, it had to be done from the head down. He had no permission to touch the head. So medicine was practiced by dividing the body in different parts. That was then. What has changed? Let's see. Medicine today, it divides the body in different body parts, which means it still uses the Cartesian method. It addresses symptoms individually. It doesn't take into account the root cause of diseases. It doesn't take into account the energetic bodies. And it doesn't connect the brain to any body dysfunction, as if the head was just sitting on top of the body, but not that it is the master commander of our whole body. We can move forward, Nirud, thank you. Whereas in Body Talk, we see things extremely the opposite way, like totally different from the Cartesian method. It's basically the opposite. We use Body Talk as an integrative, holistic healthcare system, number one, because it does look at the body as a whole. And all body systems depend on each other for perfect functioning of the body. So if you were to even have something removed from your body, as people do, gallbladder is a great example, because it's apparently useless for us to live without. We don't really need it, and we can go without it. However, with time, the body starts, other organs in the body starts compensating for the lack of a gallbladder in the body. So the function starts being performed by other organs. And with that being said, it starts putting stress on that organ that takes the role of the one that's being removed. And we're talking about limbs being removed as well. If you were to have an amputation, you can live without it. However, the body will start being compromised with time. In Body Talk, we look for the root cause of the problem versus looking at the symptom. Body Talk consults the body in order to address its needs, as I mentioned before, and that's why it's called consciousness-based. It takes into account the whole body's story, everything that's happened to you since the day you were born, or even from before that, from the time you were in your mom's womb, or even from other lifetimes. It can be that the body has carried on memories on the blueprint of that individual, and it's still affecting their living to this day. It focuses on the cause of disease and on healing, and it is preventive medicine. And Body Talk session changes the physical, the mental, and emotional bodies. So the whole constitution and patterns from the physical body as deep as cellular and quantum levels. Next one, please. The benefits of receiving Body Talk. Body Talk makes the body not susceptible to stress and improves the immune system, which is directly connected to our stress levels. Balancing of both hemispheres of the brain takes place, which we will talk more in depth later on. Energetic and thinking patterns change. Tensions get alleviated. Body Talk promotes relaxation. Blockages are released, either on the physical level or on energy levels, allowing positive and healthy lifestyle to be established. Meaning, when you start receiving Body Talk sessions, your body starts gravitating around what is necessary for its own health, for its own well-being. So your consciousness changes regarding what you want to do. Let's see, if you were hooked on sugar, and if you receive Body Talk session, but your body doesn't need sugar and it's telling you it's too much, you need to stop. Next thing you know, your palate for sugar has changed. So you're not going for sugar as much, to the point that you can even leave sugar for completely. You can stop eating completely. And Body Talk also prevents diseases. Next one. Now, this is something that not many people know about, but there are 5 levels to the body, and we're going to talk about each of them. So starting from the most dense level, which is the one that everybody's familiar with, it is the physical body. The physical body is the dense one, and Western medicine works from this level, and it focuses on symptoms, on making changes on that dense body. And it focuses on the symptom, on the disease. It's matter trying to change matter. And of course, uses the Cartesian method. The second level up is the vital level, which is based on the subtle energies. So most of the so-called holistic therapies work from this level. And we can mention homeopathy, acupuncture, Chinese medicine, and so on and so forth. And they all use the Cartesian method because they focus on the symptom. Mental level is the one above, which is the one that works on the mind. So it looks at everything related to the mind, to the brain. So it's the egoic mind, belief systems, attitudes, thoughts, and emotions. So psychotherapy, hypnosis will work from this level. However, they still use the Cartesian method. The second highest level on the body is called supramental level. And this is where we use intuition, higher aspects of consciousness. So modalities that work from this level, which includes body talk, we'll look at the bigger picture. So, and we work with the top-down causation. So we're going to work on every level from the supramental down. Whereas the other levels, the mental, we work from the mental level down through the vital, through the physical. The vital, we work through the vital, through the physical, and the physical, we work only on the physical body. So if you're imbalanced, that you're, whatever you're feeling, if you go to the doctor, you're giving a cream, you're giving a pill, you take the medication, you apply it, and it doesn't work, and you go back and it's still there, you change the medication, it's still there, that's a sign for you to know, to understand that the imbalance of that problem, it's not on the physical body. So it can be on any of those levels above. So the higher the therapy, on the higher level that therapy works, you address all the levels below. And it's the safest way to treat the body. The only level that body talk doesn't touch is the bliss level, which is the highest level in the body. That is the level where there's no need for any modality to heal the body, because the body heals itself spontaneously. It heals itself without any help of any other method. Meaning that if you are at a very relaxed level, if you are functioning from the parasympathetic level, and if you are above the stress level of our daily lives, then yes, you can do that. However, for us, especially Western mentality, it's really hard for us to not be involved with stresses. We can move forward. Symptom and root cause. When this is like a very good example to really see where each of them sit. If we look at the surface, we're only seeing 10% of that iceberg. So that is the symptom. We don't see the root cause, which takes 90% of the rest of our body. So everything that we don't see, that is not on the surface, is what needs to be looked at. So, and that root cause can go as far back as, you know, the day we were born, before we were born, or other lives, or even not too long ago, depending. But there's also always a root cause of any problem you're dealing with. And the next slide. So in body talk focuses on that root cause. So looking for the story, what really happened, right? What were the emotions attached to that event, that traumatic event that the body retained, right? Either your mind or your body retained, because memories from traumas, fears, phobias, or any negative event that you dealt with can be stored in our subconscious mind, or also in our connective tissues, affecting our health, affecting the communication and the functioning of different systems internally. Body talk looks for what caused that communication with the body mind to be interrupted in the first place. And also symptom is only a consequence of an imbalance that is happening in the body mind. And when symptoms come to surface, that's just an indication that something has been going on internally for a much longer time. And a cancer, for example, people start having symptoms, 10 years after it started developing internally. So until something shows on image, right, depending on who is scanning it, if the nothing shows on image, so apparently you don't have anything, right? But that's not true. Next one. How is a body talk session done? Next one. So first off, we practitioners, body talk practitioners, we use a GPS, if you will, to guide us in order to find the areas of imbalance in the body, which is this protocol chart that you're looking at. And the next one over. So body talk, as I mentioned, it reconnects the line of communication, allowing for healing and function to be regained again on all levels. Also, the body does the job of healing itself, because the body has what we call an innate wisdom. So it's the body's intelligence that knows what it needs in order to heal. And an example that the body can heal itself is when you cut yourself, twist an ankle, burn your skin, and you give yourself a few days or weeks, and the body is already healed. The body in body talk searches for the root, body talk searches for the root cause of the problem within the body, of that disease, or of that mental imbalance, or also spiritually, because some root causes can also be spiritual. The communication with the body is done by me, practitioner, through light tapping on the wrist of the individual, if I have that individual in front of me, or if not, which is called neuromuscular biofeedback or applied kinesiology. Or if not, I use my own hand in order to do the resistance and do the muscle checking, so I can find the imbalances, the yes and no answers to the questions. And that will allow me to set the priorities in healing for that individual. With a list of questions that I will ask this protocol chart, which is the same as I have behind me, and you give me a formula, so that the answers will come to me in form of a formula, which is a priority formula for that individual. And whatever he needs to heal, it's going to come listed that way in a certain specific order. And then the practitioner will have to integrate that formula into the body mind of the individual, which is done through tapping of the three brains of the head, heart, and the enteric brain. And that will stimulate recovery, balance, and good health on all levels. Once the body has absorbed that formula, balancing starts happening as deep as cellular and quantum levels in the body. And when we do the tapping, we balance both hemispheres of the brain, which are these two. So the left cortex and the right cortex, which make the cortices. And then the energetic and the thinking patterns of that individual start to change. Tensions go down, lower, and the blockages in the body start becoming loose, and they release, which allows the thinking positive and also the positive and the healthy health style to start settling internally. And we can move over. Now, how is balancing done in body talk? So we know that we need to tap the brain, but how is this, like this, the steps? What are all the steps that we need to do to perform in order to integrate that formula in the body? So we have to ask the body, and that's, like I said, the neuromuscular biofeedback will give me yes and no answers. And then I will navigate looking for the areas of priority that need attention, and done through the innate wisdom of the body. So the body's intelligence will tell me. And then once I have the formula, I'll start having to link those items. and to actually allow for the perfect communication to be established in the body. So those items in the formula can be anything on this protocol chart. So we can work with organs, endocrines, or body parts. We can work with environment. We can work with body chemistry. We can work with musculoskeletal. We can work with matrix relationships. We can work with consciousness, and the list goes on. After I have the links in an order, in a certain order, I'll have to integrate that into the body, which is through the tapping of the three brains. And tapping, for those who are not familiar, tapping is an indigenous holistic system used in yoga, for example. And with this technique, I am able to induce healing to start taking place, to bring awareness to the body, to the three brains. So we tap the head, which is the head brain, to tell the body that changes will start taking place, to fix something internally in the body. And also, and it's going to be all the faulty communication aspects of that communication. So we will have to then integrate that into the head, heart. We have to tap the heart to store the memories of these changes that the body will go through. And also with the pulsing of the heart, we'll distribute those signals throughout the body. And so the memories of those changes will be then stored, and then the enteric brain, which is around our gut area, which is also called the gut brain, somewhere around the navel, is the one that we tap in order to have the body decide what it needs in order to heal and give the last word in healing in the body. So, and why is that this brain specifically takes charge of deciding to heal? Because this is close enough to where the small intestine sits, and that's, according to Chinese medicine, the small intestine is the decision maker. So it's up to the small intestine to really decide for healing. And also we tap on this area, the enteric brain, to have the microbiome to digest those changes. So it's deciding to change and also digest those changes. So it's a very complex system. Also, alongside the communication, the signals, the tapping, it's also important to do deep breathing. And why do we do deep breathing? We ask to do either, sometimes it's deep, sometimes exaggerated breathing, because breathing works as a scanning tool in the body. So this method is used to target the areas to be corrected internally. And inhaling, so there's two processes. Just one is inhaling, the other one is exhaling. So the inhaling will scan the higher frequencies in the body, which the body mind, including thoughts and emotions. So everything up in the head. While when we exhale, we are scanning for the denser parts, denser frequencies. So which are the tissues, the muscles, and the bones, and everything else internally. We can move forward. So who can receive body talk? We can see in a minute. So body talk, the body talk system is so complete that it was designed for everyone on this planet, including the planet itself. So there's body talk for people, for animals, for plants, and for planet. So I personally work with people and animals, meaning that those are the two that I connected more with, and I'm trained to work with. And the body talk can actually be used as a single therapy, so as a single system, or a support system. like I said, you can still go to your Western medicine doctor, as an example, and still receive body talk. There's no contraindication for body talk, meaning you can be taking your medications, taking your supplements, and whatever it is that you take for your own health, and receive body talk at the same time. We don't diagnose in body talk. We don't prescribe as practitioners, and we don't use medication or supplements. And everything, because we believe and we know that the body does the job of healing itself naturally. And body talk can be done hands-on and remotely as well. And the next one. So people usually ask me, if they have never received body talk, which conditions can be addressed with body talk? I listed a few of them, but that doesn't limit the body talk benefits to these conditions alone or only, because in body talk, as I said, we focus on the root cause and not the symptom. Symptom is labeling that's been developed by Western medicine to make sure that we know what we have, which is not always good for us, because if people know what they have, they focus, right? They focus too much on that, and that ends up growing more than what you should. And then, of course, we're going to start looking at addressing that symptom, but that not necessarily is going to be successful, because we need to look for the emotions as well that cause that to come about in the first place. So some of the diseases or imbalances, if you will, that can be addressed with body talk: chronic pain, fibromyalgia, MS, arthritis, eating disorder, stress, insomnia, depression, grief, relationships, abuse, memory, so decreased memory, ADD, ADHD, OCD, panic syndrome, anxiety, insomnia. So everything brain related, it works with body talk, because everything, like I said, that develops in the body starts first where? In the brain. Cancer, immune-related diseases, heart condition, diabetes, high blood pressure, traumas, fears, phobias, pre or post-surgery. If you were to have a surgery and have received body talk sessions before you go for surgery, that actually excels the results of that session. So it's a peace of mind that the person will have, knowing that the surgery will be successful. And then after surgery, it's also important to receive body talk in order to accelerate the benefits, the healing process of that individual, and also to address scar tissue. Or fascia, for example, which is connective tissue that is always built after surgery and can cause a lot of pain and start creating other imbalances and pain or dysfunction inside the body. And I personally am able to release fascia energetically without causing pain to the body. Injuries, allergies, hormone imbalance, menstrual cramps, infertility, and the list goes on and on. The next one. Now, when we talk about body talk, as I mentioned before, the body talk system is so welcoming to other modalities, meaning that for people who are practitioners already, not only people who receive body talk, but there are practitioners who maybe might be experiencing interactions with the patients or clients where they don't get the best results. And that might be because the therapy that they practice only work on that certain level of the body, and that there's other higher levels that are being uncovered. So maybe it's good to integrate body talk to that person's healing process, to expedite and to let that other practitioner go deeper into where they need to go or what they need to work with. Can I move over? Thank you. So Body Talk welcomes other modalities into the matrix, so whichever is necessary for the body. Also, as I mentioned, we can collaborate, and integrating modalities, healing modalities. It's again to target the healing, the most beneficial outcome for that individual, for that body. And the next one. All right. So now that you have an idea of how Body Talk works and the benefits that it can do for you, and again, it's all about, just to summarize, it's all about decreasing the stress levels that we live under, and really making sure that the neurons, or the brain cells, are still shooting strong signals into the different systems in the body so we can be healthy. So this communication should never go weaker. And that's what Body Talk does, because it works directly on the brain. And so it stimulates all brain functions, number one. And then when the brain functions are up to par, everything all the other functions internally in the body will be doing their job as well. So it's the communication, the collaboration between the two that will make us healthy. However, it's advised also, like I mentioned before, for people who tend to be more on that sympathetic mode, to really do something to lower their stress levels, to see better benefits, to obtain better benefits from Body Talk. I would suggest yoga, meditation, possibly, ideally, on a daily basis, to try and bring those stress levels down so you can start shifting, as we say, internally when we receive Body Talk much faster. Some people shift faster than others. We would say that that is greatly due to the stress level in the body. So some people say, well, I don't see any difference, but most likely it's because the stress level is too high. And when people don't do their homework, which is really practicing some physical activity and looking after their brain, like trying to relax and do things that they enjoy doing, oftentimes it's just work, and family. There is a backup technique that I would like to demonstrate to all of you now, which is also the main technique in Body Talk. So Body Talk is made of different techniques that we use in order to perform a session when we are doing a full Body Talk session. However, there's a solo technique in Body Talk that everybody can perform, which is a stress reliever technique. And it's called the cortices technique. The cortices technique was created solemnly to reconnect the communication between the two hemispheres of the brain, to really by accelerating that communication and reconnecting it, to make the brain start performing its functions normally again. So the cortices technique is done by placing either hand on top of our head, which can be, thank you, which can be either hand. And the reason as to why we place our hand on top of our head is because they're a polarity. There's the north and south pole polarities on either hand. And the polarity connecting with the brain directly with the two hemispheres is going to make that bridge. However, we need to induce the communication to start kicking in, and that's done through the tapping. When we tap, what happens is that we activating the energy inside the body, and it's functioning, as we call in geography, as a tsunami. So we are activating the energy field to keep moving, to start scanning the body, to bring that communication on again. So, and once that happens, everything starts shifting. And alongside with breathing, which we saw earlier, and the benefits of breathing, breathing is going to be doing the scanning of the body parts that need attention. While we're doing the tapping, we're doing the scanning, right? As we saw. So, so there's two different tappings that we do in Body Talk. I mean, there's more because they're techniques, but we do the tapping when we are integrating a session on a client, but we are doing the tapping of the cortices daily on ourselves, which is a solo technique that anybody, people of all ages can practice. So if you'd like to do it with me, pick one hand, whatever you want. One is going to do the bridging, right? The connection, and the other one is going to be doing the tapping. So whichever you want. I'm going to put my left hand on the back, and it goes on the back of the skull, right? Above the neck, and the fingers will be enclosed. So make sure they're not wide open. So place it here. The other hand, you can either place this way or this way. So the idea here is that you have to connect the two hemispheres. So don't tap only on one side or only on the other side, but in the middle, okay? So I'm gonna leave mine this way because it's more comfortable for me. So you start tapping very lightly, never hard, okay? Don't hurt yourself. And you tap on the three brains. Remember which ones they are? Head, heart, and enteric brain, which is around the belly button area. While you're doing the tapping, what are we going to do? We're going to breathe. So we're going to take 2 full breaths for each hand position. And the placement of the hand position is activating every single brain function according to where we stop. So once you took 2 full breaths for this hand position, you go up 1 hand position because we're going to cover the whole head, okay? And breathe to do the scanning, to find where the areas of those imbalances are, to get rid of all that stress that we're holding inside. Go up another hand position, never leaving spaces between the hand positions, okay? Make sure you know where you were and where you're going. Go up again. So we never count the number of hand positions on the head because everybody's head is different. Some people will need more hand positions than others, and that's okay. Now, if you got to the top already, you can tap on your hand. That's fine. I'm going to tap on my hand. See? You can have either move it over or you can tap on it, and that's okay. Keep breathing. Tapping around the heart area and around on the gut area, and then you go again. So when you come to the front, make sure you're above the eyebrow line. Don't cover them. And tap. Now, we're missing the emotional brain. We're going to do the limbic brain. We're going to connect both together and let go of one hand first, whichever you want, to do the tapping. Now we connect one more time and let go of the other one. That's it. All right. And this is the cortices technique. Can we go back to the slide one more time? So by just tapping this technique twice a day, you can do, can I go over to the next one, please? Thank you. And one more. So just by balancing the cortices every day, at least twice a day, when you wake up, when you go to bed, that's highly beneficial to enhance all communication internally and all the body functions. If you do the cortices, if you tap the cortices every day for weeks, months, or years, if you tap that every day, you can start improving your health just by tapping the cortices, and you can start noticing it. So benefits of tapping the cortices: it improves concentration, gives mental clarity, stimulates body's healing abilities. It improves memory, decision making. It lowers the stress levels. It helps someone sleep better, relax. It improves general physical, emotional balance and well-being. Improves mechanical function. It improves overall physical and mental health. It improves results of a body talk session. This is the homework I give all my clients, and most of them forget. It can reverse coma and stroke symptoms and brain damage. And I guess we're done. Is there a next one? There you go.
Just have a few questions.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I should put my mic down there. A few questions that we have. Sorry, I'm just checking here. So somebody said with belief systems that you mentioned earlier, how does, sorry, I just want to make sure I get the question right. How do you use it to change belief systems and change how your health is?
So the body talk session is done equally for every single problem that's affecting you. What we can do is either focus on what you want to work with. If it's to correct a belief system, then we can do session to focus on belief system correction and changing. Or we can just do a whole body talk session, like a freestyle, as I call it, and see where the body goes. Because sometimes, or oftentimes, people come to me and they say, hey, I want to work on this, let's say, belief system. However, there might be something else that is a priority for the body, and the body needs to give attention to that first. So we have to see, we have to play with that to see, but it's possible.
Yeah, I think you already covered it. Our next question really is what if I don't know what's wrong? So you basically covered that, but I'll get you to cover it briefly again.
Well, like I said, some people come to me and they don't even tell me what they have, which is I like to, because when I do a session without knowing what's going on, and I finish the session, usually the person says, you nailed it. That's exactly what was going on. So there's that too, because the body is screaming to have that attention going towards that problem. So you will tell me, hey, Adriana, this is what needs attention. This is what I'm going to adjust first.
And one last question here. If I've had other types of chronic illnesses and treatments, how will body talk help me in the future get better? You've already answered it, but I'll get you to answer it briefly again.
Sure. So let's say that you come with chronic disease. Okay. So there's different aspects to chronic disease. Your lifestyle is also a big factor, right? So your foods, you're active, you're not active. So if it's something that you need to change alongside receiving body talk sessions, guess what? The body will tell me, and I will tell you, hey, you need to stop eating this, or you need to exercise. And I'll tell you which exercise it is. So it is up to you if you will do it. However, the combination of what the body needs in order to achieve your ideal state are the tools. So like we're going to pave the way to get there. So with your collaboration, following what I'm telling, drinking water, tapping your cortices, coming regularly for your body talk sessions, yes, you can do it.
Okay, perfect. And I also, one last question, which I think is really, really important. Public allies, we assist with stress, we assist with anxiety, mental health issues. So somebody asked, is body talk good for mental health? So I'll let you answer that question.
Sure. Yeah, I think I mentioned that along the presentation as well, because body talk starts working primarily first is the brain. Right? Remember I said that the brain is the master commander. Everything that happens in our lives is start here. subconsciously or not, consciously or subconsciously, because sometimes you think, oh no, but I never wanted this, I never really thought about it. Yes, you did, but not on a conscious level. So we are 100% responsible for what's going on in our life, because at some point we attracted it, either consciously or subconsciously. So yes, the body starts adjusting accordingly. And so whatever is happening in your body, either on the brain level or not, is going to be adjusted. So it's really about reconnecting that communication that I mentioned that breaks down when we are under stress. So the stressors in your life will have to be looked after, right? So let's say you come to me because you're too stressed at work, okay? You hate that job, but you keep receiving body talk sessions, but you're not getting better. Guess what? You need to leave the job. And sometimes it comes up in the session. It's come up in like client sessions that they had to leave relationships, that they would have to move out from the parents' home. If they do it or not, it's up to them, right? Because if you keep receiving sessions, if you keep coming from the sympathetic mode of, which is the stress, fight and flight, to the parasympathetic. So I bring you down to the stress, I lower your stress level. You go back home, your stress level goes up. You come to me, I lower it. So you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So the root cause of your problem needs to be addressed by you in this case,
Mhm.
right?
That's amazing. And that's exactly, I think a lot of counselors will argue the exact same thing. Can't take an individual to make, change if they're going to be in their same situation. So, Adriana, we appreciate having you on and sharing your expertise. Can you just tell our viewers how they would be able to reach you? Just to remind everybody, the contact information is under the Facebook Live. So all of Adriana's contact information, but if you can give your contact number out and email out uh, right now, if you wouldn't mind.
Absolutely. Okay, so just to give a really brief explanation right now, because of COVID, and also because that's the way I am leading my practice, my sessions are done 100% remotely. So you don't have to leave the comfort of your home to come to me, and it's COVID safe. So basically, it's energy therapy. So I don't really need to touch anybody for you to receive, because we're all one. We all come from the one energy source, as I mentioned. So you can contact me. We can set up a session, and we can contact, if you want to see me while you're receiving the session, we can do WhatsApp or Skype or whatever image you want to use. Or if you can just want to listen to my voice when I do the session, which is what I recommend, because I want you to be relaxed when you're receiving the session instead of sitting up tight and looking to see what I'm doing, right? So you want to be in a receiving mode. But I can be reached by telephone, which is 416-846-3872. You can watch a list of videos on my YouTube channel. All my contact information is there too, which is Adriana 1N Barros, BARROS, comma CBP, stands for Certified Body Talk Practitioner. So that's my YouTube channel. You can see me on Instagram as well, which is A Healer 2019. My email address is bodytalkhighpark@gmail.com, and my website is www.bodytalkhighpark.com.
Perfect. Thank you again, Adriana, for coming on Public Allies. Remember, everybody, there's always more than one way to heal. There's always more than one way to look at a problem. And Adriana's here and presented one way to look at a problem, which is your body and your mind. So level up, heal up, and give Adriana a call if you're interested in finding out more about Body Talk. We'll see you here again next Tuesday, January 26th at 7 p.m. for financial preparedness and tax preparation for tax season. So we'll see you then. Back on Facebook Live, and on the 28th, we will be having another round table. So we'll see you then, everybody. Keep us posted. Keep on telling us what you think, and we love your comments. Thank you again. Bye bye.
Thank you, Nuru.
Bye.